Hi, I'm George Yancey. Let's shatter some paradigms. And the paradigm I want to shatter today is the notion of perfectibility. I want to talk about that, what it is, and how I learned about it, and the problems with it. And by the end of this video, I want to show you that there's a better way, what I feel is a more Christ-centered way than perfectibility. So, what is perfectibility? So I went to graduate school. I went to graduate school as a Christian man, and I went to classes and learned about the Enlightenment movement and the fascination the Enlightenment movement with perfectibility. The Enlightenment movement basically argued that humans were the highest created order, and that if we were going to solve our problems, we humans had to solve our problems. We couldn't rely on the gods or the goddesses or anything like that, the supernatural. Humans would have to solve the problems. It was a faith, if you will, in human reason and ability, that humans would solve problems. And in order to solve these problems, we had to move away from the divine or notions of the divine. We humans could do it. Now, I was uneasy with this. I was like, something about this is wrong. And over time, I began to realize some of the things that were wrong with perfectibility. And I think we see this today. What happened in the Enlightenment movement moved over into movements of humanism, and it powers a lot of the more progressive movements today. I'm not saying that religious people cannot be in progressive movements, but I'm saying that a lot of it's powered by this notion of perfectibility. You see, the question is, what is the nature of humans? Are we perfectible? Are we the highest order, and then we're perfectible? Or is there something else to us? As a Christian, I think about human depravity. Now, what I mean by that is we're fallen creatures. We fall short of what we should be. And we will never fully reach that in this lifetime. We should strive to do better, and we should strive to change our society for the better. But we're not going to reach perfectibility. And that's okay. If we're correct, then humans will fall short. And the search for utopia with depravity is going to bring its own awful consequences. Let me be clear about this. A lot of damage has been done searching for utopia. Because if a person's in the way of utopia, then why do we get them out the way? Any way possible. A lot of what's been called cancel culture, I think, is this search for utopia and perfectibility. And I realize that there are some Christians doing a version of cancel culture right now. And I see them as Christians who are not being fully obedient to the implications of what they say they believe. Here's a really big dynamic of this. Are people redeemable, or should they be perfectible? Because if you believe in depravity, you believe we all need to be redeemed. But if you believe in perfectibility and someone falls short, then you can ask, why aren't you perfect? Why aren't you engaging in the things that will build perfectibility? And this is why if someone says a comment that could be implied to be racist or actually is racist, we can cancel them and drum them out of society. But if they're redeemable, we can't cancel them. We can work with them. I'm not saying that we accept it, or we don't, there are ways which we may treat them differently, yes. But we can't take them totally out of society, and we can't remove them. And if they ask for forgiveness, we accept it, and we don't accept it in a way to where we can still damage them with their past. Do we redeem people, or do we expect perfectibility? That is the question. I think the nature of the human creature is that we have depravity, that we don't have this perfectibility. I think about my boys. I mean, one of the aspects of perfectibility is that we are rational creatures. And in our rationality, we will be able to find out the best things for us and for society. This is why democracy is great. All these rational people voting. Well, I love my boys, but I've watched them from a very early age. They're not rational. They'll grow into it in time, I hope, to some degree, but humans are not naturally rational. We think that we are, but we're not. So perfectibility comes with these costs. And the better way to think about it is depravity. That we cannot perfect people through education. We can't perfect them through sanctioning them. We can redeem those who turn away from their depravity and search a better way. And that's what we have to do, from my point of view. Perfectibility runs a lot of our movements today. A lot of our movements is the movement towards this perfectibility. A great example of how this would look like, if you know anything about Marxism, Marxism argues that once we control and take care of the economy, the economic system, it'll eventually create this utopia. And if you read Marxism, traditional Marxism, this utopia is not just an economic system, it'll change the human. It'll change the human to being a better person because they're in a better system. And so the reason why humans have these foibles is that they're under capitalism, they're under an evil system that holds them down. This is not the best explanation of Marx you're going to get, but I'm just, trying to make it applicable to what I'm talking about. It is based on the notion of perfectibility, right? System, utopia. There's other systems that do this. We've seen what happens with some of the externalities and abuses that happen under that system. In the attempt to create this utopia, a lot of damage is done. Other systems attempting to do this, attempting to create these perfect systems, assuming that we can be perfectible, also do a great deal of damage. Depravity with humbleness, knowing that we need to learn, that we don't have all the answers. We work towards a better system. That is the path that we need to take. Did this shatter some paradigms for you on how the search for perfectibility can actually lead to a lot of damage? Well, if it does, just think about it. Just think about how it can, and think about human depravity as a better way, a Christian way of trying to create change. If you've come with me this far, I hope that you will consider liking this channel, subscribing to it, leaving a comment, telling your friends about it. I really appreciate it if you would do that. With that, please come back where we can shatter some more paradigms.